Hey guys, my name is Portia. Welcome back to my channel. So guys, today we are going to be continuing the Love is Blind UK watching or reacting, and I'm finally on episode 7 and 8. And I don't have my bubbly. Actually, I already drank it before I started recording, but we're still going to get this done, y'all, because I need to watch the reunion show. But anyway, y'all, so we're going to start with episode 7, and it looks like we have some family meetups, and so I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Let's get it started. So the episode starts out with the couples doing things together, and we see that Megan and Kieran are taking some kind of salsa lessons or dances. Oh wait, Megan is a dancer, so she's teaching him moves. And then we see Barda and Jed. They meet up with one of Barda's friends, and listen, this girl is going in. She is making sure that Jed is in it for the right reason, and that Barda is making the right decision. So we're listening to Javen and Katisha talk. Javen has taken her to his place, and they're just sitting in bed. To me, these two are still very, very, very awkward. Like, I don't see them warming up to each other. It's just very awkward with them two. And Katisha keeps saying that she's happy they're in a good place, but the body language, it's just not, it's just not meshing with them two. So they're talking about eating dinner together. So apparently Javan works late. He's a coach, I believe, and apparently he has late nights, at least 4 days a week. And he's saying those nights he get home late. And Katisha saying, "Okay, well, I eat dinner late, so I can, I can wait and eat around 9 or 10 whenever you get home." And he's like, "I'm in bed by 10." Like, bro, like what? What are you saying? Like, she's saying, "Okay, those days we can, I can make, I can eat late." He's like, "Well, I'll be in bed by 10." No, like that's your cue to say, "Okay, well, let's make a plan that on my late days, I'm home by 9. We eating by 9:30, and then I'm in bed by 10." It's just that simple. Like I don't know. Like this guy, his mouth says that he wants marriage. He likes Katisha, and that they're in a good spot. She keeps saying they're in a good spot, but when you look at them, you're like, "Nah, y'all not in a good spot." Like if y'all make it past the next 2 episodes, I will be highly impressed, because right now it's looking like a no go, And then we see Sarova and Cal are talking about Sorova's worry that her mom will not accept the whole union. And it's not because Cal's Pakistani, it's just because of the route that Sarova has taken to find Cal and her fiance. She's saying it's just not very traditional for her culture, and that she's worried what her mom will think. But then she said, "You know what? This is my life. I'm taking control of my choices, and this is what I want to do." And hopefully she gets on board with it. Okay, so we just watched the scene where Javan's mother and sister comes over to meet Katisha, and they find out that Katisha and Javan are engaged. And so the sister is like, "Well, what about Javan, or what about each other attracted you guys to each other? Does it make you choose each other?" And they both always keep doing this stuttering thing. And then Katisha finally says, "Yeah, well, we have the same family values." And then Javan jumps in and says, "Yeah, we're very similar, almost too similar." And Katisha starts laughing and she agrees. Like, what? What? Like, anytime someone asks her a question about why she chose Javan, she just stutters, and she cannot explain why. Like, am I the only person that sees that? Like, y'all let me know. So, guys, we're getting ready to watch the scene where the couples are going to meet up with some of the people from the pods. Like, you know how they all get together for like and meet up. So that's getting ready to happen in just a second. But before that happens, I want to talk about the conversation between Billy's dad, and Ashleigh. So Billy's dad mentioned that Billy told him before he left that he did not want to take chances with someone who travels for work. So when Billy's dad brought it up, it made Ashleigh uncomfortable. But they both said that for the first 6 months it's going to be hard, but they're going to make it work. And I think they said 6 months because Billy cannot change stations until 6 months. And I believe Ashleigh's work schedule um is already in a is already written out or scheduled out for the next at least 4 to 5 months. So I think that's why they said 6 months. My fear is that Billy is living in La La Land, and y'all know the saying that be with somebody for who they are, not for the potential. And they both know that travel has always been that distance has always been an issue for their relationships, and the fact that they both are delusional about that right now, I think that they are. I feel like they're setting themselves up for failure. I hope they prove me wrong though, because I love them together. I just hope that on the reunion show, whenever I do watch it, that they're not like divorced or separated, or that they don't say that the distance was an issue, because you already know it's an issue. Like, you know that right now that it's an issue before wedding day. So I just wanted to talk about that. We have these red flags and these boundaries, but if you set boundaries but then you don't stick to them, what's the point of having them, right? So now we're going to get into the juicy part of the episode. Y'all, I love these little episodes where the connections can finally see each other for the first time. So you know what? I'm actually curious to see how Kieran and Sophie act with one another. And that is actually, I want to see that. So guys, Sophie came in with her grand entrance. I mean, dress is so damn tight and short. She probably can't bend over, and her boobs are literally spilling out the top. So first of all, she hugs Kieran and another guy. I think his name was Charlie. They don't really talk much about him in the pods, but he did show up 1 or 2 times. And they're both like, yeah, she's very pretty. And then here comes Javen looking around the corner at Kieran. They both start giggling, just silly. But then Sophie goes to the girls' table and they're chit chatting. And Megan said, you know what, I'm not worried about it. And then Patrick and Aanu decide to talk. Listen, Aanu gives it to him. Like, she's mad. She's talking with emotions. She's still hurt. She's still upset. So that's why I'm telling you guys, that's why I don't really think that closure does not do anything. Having a conversation with someone about why they chose to end things with you does not change anything. And so now they're in this place arguing, and she's telling him that he looks crazy with a do-rag on. And now, so it's like that was pointless. It was pointless. And so nothing was resolved. Which, I mean, I thought that was going to happen anyway. That's why I don't think it should have been had. But anyway, it was had. And now we're going to watch the scene with Kieran and Sophie talks. So let's see how that goes. So the conversation between Kieran and Sophie was pretty I guess surface level, nothing too exciting or anything about it. But for some reason, them talking kind of rubbed Megan the wrong way. And instead of her saying that she was jealous, she's now starting to say, oh, well, I know Sophie from the pods, and I mean from the living quarters, and I know all sides of her. Like, say you're jealous or you having a moment of insecurity. Don't try to downplay somebody else. Just say how you're feeling to your man, and you guys handle that situation. I think Kieran could see that it was jealousy and insecurity, and he looked at her and he said, there's no one else that I am interested in but you. It's me and you. Okay, like, I get, like, you guys are in some type of a weird situation here, and it's okay to feel insecure. Like, these women are all very pretty. The men are okay too. So whenever you guys are meeting up, and seeing the person for the first time, like, it's okay. So I'm so glad that Kieran is so in tune. Like, he has emotional intelligence. He read the cues and body language, and so he was able to comfort her in that moment. Y'all, tell me why Javen is eyeing Sophie. Javen is eyeing Sophie, y'all. And even Sophie was like, she don't see Katisha and Javen as a couple. I'm like, yeah, none of us does. No one sees it as a couple but Katisha in her head. That's it. No one else. So listen, Javan has showed more attention and interest in Sophie in 5 minutes than he has to Katisha and the whole time they've been together. That's all I'm gonna say. That is all I'm gonna say, y'all. So we just had a conversation between Javan and Kieran, and Javan asked Kieran, "Do you think you should be in love with the person that you marry?" And Kieran's like, "Yeah, I couldn't marry someone who doesn't love me." And Javan saying, "Well, I'm in that boat. Like I can see my life with Katisha, but I'm not in love with her." And then Katisha comes over to the table, asks the guys, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Marriage," and the guys are like, yeah, it's kind of tough. And they asked Katisha. She said, no, it's not tough. She looked at Javan and she said, I made my choice. Girl, you chose a man who did not choose you. That simply put, if that was demoralized sitting there, there would be no question about whether or not he was going to marry you. There would be no question about whether or not if he was in love with you. But Javan, he not loving you, girl. He not going to pick you. I'm telling y'all, every time these two are in the same vicinity, it is awkward. Like it's kind of like they're trying to force something that is not there, and they're not gonna make it to the altar. And if they make it to the altar, homeboy is gonna say no. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. He is not feeling her, and she chose a man who did not choose her when she had one in front of her who was ready. She sabotaged her own self. So Katisha makes the comment that she feels secure in her relationship. So as Javan and Sophie continue to talk, the girls are like, she's being inappropriate. Like, but I can play devil's advocate here and say, why do we always blame the woman? Yes, Sophie is a girl who knows that her looks works for her. She knew that from the very beginning. Whenever you know that, you can wield anything or any man into your siren song, right? And so don't blame her. Javan is an engaged man, and he does not have to sit there and giggle and laugh with her and look into her eyes and give her that sexual energy. And so Katisha makes a comment that she is confident in her relationship. You confident with who? In what relationship? With who? You with who? Not with that man right there. Not with Javan, you not. Girl, she better stop it. So y'all, they're done with the meetup, and Katisha and Javan head back home. They're again sitting in their kitchen, awkwardly talking, and Javan's trying to force conversation. And instead of Katisha bringing up the fact that I guess these girls don't want to sound jealous, but Katisha did not like how long and how and how the conversation between Sophie and him were how it appeared. And instead of her asking him what the conversation was about, she just said, how was the conversation? Like she didn't go into detail. He was just like, it was a good conversation. He was just being very dry, as he always is with her. And so she gets up and goes to bed. And he goes back out because you guys know how once they meet up and do like the cameras and everything, they usually always meet up again without the cameras. So apparently Javan went out to meet up with the crew again, but Katisha stayed home, and she started crying because I think in that moment she wanted some reassurance from Javan that nothing inappropriate was happening with him and Sophie. And I think she also wanted him to read the room, like, I'm sad, my demeanor is off, I'm not talking as much. Like, you don't know that that something's wrong with me. Like, you don't know that I'm not being myself right now. And you guys know me what to do, even with my own relationship. Whenever our certain things that we say and do that our guy know or our partner knows that we're off. My boyfriend, sometimes I can answer the phone. He's like, what's wrong? So it's like the fact that he's in there looking at her eyes, seeing her body language, and still can't tell that she's not herself, or something's bothering her. Like, this guy don't care. Like, I don't know what made him want to propose to Katisha. I don't know what made him think that she was the best connection for him, but he is not putting any kind of effort towards this relationship, none at all. So I'm just, y'all, I'm telling you, I can't listen. If they make it to the altar, it's gonna be a no from him for sure. For sure, for sure. So we made it through episode 7. Episode 7 without it raining, thank God. So let's go ahead and get through episode 8.
Again, that just goes back to how I communicate versus how you communicate.
Okay. Yeah, I was a bit upset last night.
You was upset?
Yeah.
About what?
Sorry y'all for the smacking. I was eating some popcorn. So we start off with Javen and Katisha, and they're talking about last night because Javen went out. This man has no type of, I don't know if he's just not one to show intimacy and affection, but she doesn't console the girl at all, doesn't make her feel good at all. He just gives her these little snarky ass comments. So instead of him going to her and saying, hey, you know, there are no worries. Well, he did say that. He said, nothing for you to worry about. But he kept folding his clothes. Like, that would have been the time for him to go to her, give her a hug, embrace her, and say, it's nothing for you to worry about. I wasn't doing anything I shouldn't have been doing. I know you've dealt with some infidelity in the past, but I'm different. Or, you know, I'm not going to do that to you. Or I'm in this for a long run. None of that. Bro did none of that. He kept folding his clothes as if it was just regular laundry day. And some random girl was in his room questioning him. Again, y'all, I don't see it, and I don't get it, but I definitely don't see it. So, guys, we make it through the first 15 minutes of the episode, and we start off with the conversation between Javen and Katisha. Then we fast forward to Billy and Ashleigh. Ashleigh's meeting Billy's mother and sister this time, and everything's going well. And at the end of the scene, Billy tells his sister that the fact that Ashleigh is cabin crew is really starting to weigh in on him. Y'all, I've been saying that is going to be an issue, and I don't want Billy and Ashleigh to be in la la land about it, because if somebody is traveling today for work, when you marry them tomorrow, they're going to still be traveling for work. So if somebody who travels for work is a no for you, why are you moving forward? So he's telling his sister that he's not sure what he's going to do now. And then we see Javen meets Katisha's family. She has 4 siblings, and her mom is there. And her mom is pretty much saying, treat her like a queen. And if Katisha is happy, then the mom gives them their blessing. But my thing with Javen is, if you know you're unsure about the girl, you know you don't love the girl, and you're definitely not going to say yes on wedding day. Come on now. Why wasting time meeting the family? Like, why go through the motions if you're not actually going to make it all the way to the end with her? Like, I don't get it, but he and the family seem to be accepting of him. Oh Lord, Cal. Cal is just super nervous. He's talking about how beautiful. So the mom is like, what made you choose Sarova? And he said many things. And then Sarova's mom said, okay, well, I would like to hear them. I don't know, Cal starts mumbling and rambling, and then somehow he ends up talking about Sarova's beautiful and her body, and he can't wait for the wedding night. Like, bro, wrong audience for that. I think he's just so freaking nervous. He's not really sure what to say. And Sarova's just sitting there, like, staring off, like, what the heck is going on? And the sister is looking at her like, what is happening? And the mom is looking like, huh? I mean, like, to me, on the outside looking in, it's funny, but I'm sure in that moment, Sarova was actually dying inside.
This is real. This is us. We are doing this. This is real.
All right, now, Sarova, she said, listen, mama, you've been on me a lot about what happened. And she was like, don't you know that you raised a good girl and that I can make decisions? Have you ever heard Have you ever had to deal with me making bad decisions? Have I ever made any kind of decision in my past and in my life that made you upset, made you question anything that I've done? She was like, no. She was like, so I'll make this decision for myself and we are doing this. That's right, girl. Nah. That's right. So mom does in the end give the blessing for their union. So that was good. So guys, we watched the scene where Jed and Barda meets up with Jed's parents. And every mom's asking the same question: what made you choose my child, pretty much. And Barda tells Jed's mom, that she was attracted to Jed's confidence and then their cultures and their family values and all of that. And Jed's mom's like, well, what about any arguments? And Barda was like, well, I'm not really an argumentative person, so I probably would not let it get to that point. But I don't know why people think disagreements and arguments are bad in a relationship. You guys are two totally different people, and you're not going to agree on everything all the time. Arguments and disagreements are healthy. It's healthy because nobody's walking around with this notion that they have to be perfect, that I have to want what he wants, I have to like what he likes, I have to do what he says. No, you're an individual. Disagreements are okay. They are healthy. You're not going to agree on everything, y'all. And I feel like as women, we confuse that. We think disagreements mean unhappiness, and it doesn't. Like, you guys are two totally different people. You're not going to agree on the same thing. You should agree on important things like how to raise a family, finances, religion. Those things are important, but other stuff like you're not going to agree on everything. And I think that they should know that it's okay. But Jed's mother is like, if you guys haven't had an argument yet, how do you know how you're gonna respond, and if you can actually work through those hard times if you haven't had a hard time yet? So that's the mom's concern, and anybody's concern really. But they said that they'll work through it, and they're sticking this out to the end. And so, like I said, all the other couples seem to be in this to win it. Seem to be in it to go beyond beyond the wedding. But Katisha and Javen, them two, they not at that level. Them two, no, it's a no.
To Yolanda. And then eventually started talking to Aanu. What the fuck? Yeah, he was doing it and literally like it couldn't be more obvious. All of us watched when you could ask any other person.
Y'all. So Megan was telling Kieran at the beginning of this episode that she didn't appreciate how Javen was acting that night when they all went out after the mixer without the cameras. So she wanted to tell Katisha about what she saw, and Kieran was like, okay, yeah, I'll support you. So Megan is telling Katisha everything that is happening. She's like, your boy was out here giving googly eyes to every female, laughing up with every female, pulling Sophie aside. Listen, like, Javen was out here doing the absolute most.
It was Demola, Patrick, it was all the guys, all the girls. She's the only one that said that, yeah? When I came back, what did I tell you? I told you I spoke to Sophie, I told you.
So guys, we just saw the scene where Katisha confronts Javen about the night out. So first of all, she goes back to their apartment, and she starts packing her bags to go home. They have a conversation, and he's like, well, Megan is lying. And Katisha's like, well, why would Megan lie to me? Katisha now, she, just like in the pods, she first said she was going to go home. Then she talked to Javen. Now she's unsure. In the pod, she knew for sure she wanted to pick Demola. Then she became undecisive again. Her undecisiveness is what's going to keep her in a continuous cycle. And I told you guys, whenever she picked Javen and she picked her paths, she picked someone that she was comfortable with because she had dealt with it before. And she was hoping that it'd be different. So, yeah, I don't know what them two, if they make it past this argument, I would be impressed. But I don't see it happening. That's just me. And then I've always been a person that if someone tells you something about your man, take it, right? Keep it in your back pocket. start your own investigation, so that way you know for yourself. Don't take someone's word, run to your relationship, and cause it to be demolished. Like, say, okay, thank you. Take it, put it in your back pocket, do your own research. Everyone was an FBI agent. Every single one of us is an FBI agent. Whatever we want to figure out and find out, we can if we take the time. So that's just my advice. Like, don't take someone's word face value, because how Megan interpret what happened, how Javen interprets it, how Aanu or Sophie interprets it, how Kira interprets it, everybody interprets the same situation differently, right? So don't just take one person's don't just take somebody's word about your spouse or your partner without you having your own concrete evidence. So y'all, Katisha decides to leave. Even after her and Javen's conversation, I guess she didn't feel at ease about everything. So she decided to leave, but she left them in a letter with her wedding ring. Now listen, y'all, I've been digging into Javen's ass this whole time. But if I'm at work all day and I come home to a letter on the dining table with your engagement ring, listen, I'm gonna be livid. Just seeing the letter is gonna make me livid. I'm not even gonna read it because I've been working all day. I'm tired and I don't want to deal with this whenever I get home. I'm just saying. But anyway, she decides to leave, so he reads the letter, he tears it up. The next day he does call Patrick and tell Patrick what happened. And Patrick was like, well, yeah, if she left, then she's not a woman for you. Patrick gave no type of advice as to be expected. And then we fast forward to Billy and Ashleigh, and Billy finally admits, I told y'all that was going to be an issue. Billy finally admits to Ashleigh that he's 50-50 now. He's like, I cannot jump into this marriage thing and we have not solidified, us being apart because of work. And Ashleigh was like, we already solidified that. Billy said, no, we didn't. We talked about how it's going to be a struggle for 6 months, but we haven't solidified anything. We haven't put a plan in place. Y'all, I thought Ashleigh was going to have a mental breakdown. Like, I think she started having a panic attack because she thought that they were solid. She thought they were both 100%, and now she's just feeling insecure that she's not good enough for Billy and that she's willing to do all of this for him. So why is he 100%? Yeah, I knew it. Like, Billy's family is worried about it. Billy said it before he came on the show that he didn't want anybody who traveled, and his experience is that being with someone who travels causes a rift, it causes distance, and it doesn't end well for relationships. Listen, my boyfriend and I, we had that struggle for some time and we had to figure it out. But it can be done, but it's going to be hard. I'm telling you, it's going to be extremely hard, but it can be done. It's going to take a lot of meticulous scheduling on both their parts. When I say meticulous, it's like weeks. It may be week by week at first, and then once they get used to it, they can do it month by month. But it can definitely be done. But y'all, now we fast forward to Javen. It called Ashleigh and Karen over to his place. He's like, listen, I'm going to clear my name. So what is happening? What is happening?
I just want to dissect some of that because from what she told me, there were some half-truths to what was said. So apparently I spent all night with Sophie and Yolanda.
What, at the club?
Y'all, listen. Damn, Javen was trying to gaslight Megan, and Megan stood 10 toes down. Like, they both went head to head, toe to toe. Both of them calling each other pretty much a liar. But they both stood on 10. They both stood on 10. So who do we believe at this point? 100% nobody. Do I believe a little bit of each side? Yeah. I believe that Javen probably was talking to the girls, but I don't think he probably didn't perceive it in that it was inappropriate. So I believe both of them perceive the same thing differently, and that's just how things go. People always say there's a truth and the lie, and no, there's two sides. No, there's three sides to a story: your side, their side, and somewhere in between it's the truth, but I disagree. Like, everybody has a different perception of everything that happens. That's just reality of of how our brains function, how our brains work. But they went head to head, they went toe to toe, and Megan said he made some kind of a comment that he wanted to sleep with Sophie, which I said that he would had some kind of sexual googly eyes at her when he met her at the mixer. But Kieran didn't interfere. He let them argue. I don't know how I really feel about that, because I guess it's just based on, I'm not one to believe that a man should argue with somebody else's girl. Disagree, yeah, but when you start raising your voice and you start pointing your finger, that's totally different level. That's been escalated. My boyfriend, I don't think he would allow that. But Kieran just stayed neutral the whole time. But he did have Megan's back about the whole Sophie, Javen, and the photo booth situation. Anyway, so Javen was like, in hindsight, he probably should have stayed home. But I'm like, why? For what, bro? For you to look at Katisha, for y'all to be awkward with each other? Because y'all were not making any progress. So stay at home for what? It's not about staying at home. It's about whenever you're out, whenever you're away from home, that you're behaving and that you know how to act and respect your relationship. So you being at home, what does that matter? Really? I mean, like, what does that matter? So then he proceeds to say, well, he apologized for making Megan cry. So that's a point for him. But he did say, well, if him and Katisha can't communicate, then they shouldn't be together. But I'm like, y'all, how does Katisha and Javen both interpret that what they have is a relationship and that it's an actual solid foundation? Like, I don't get it. Like, y'all don't communicate about everyday stuff, so I know for sure y'all can't communicate about your feelings and intentions and solve problems together. Y'all can't do that. Yep. So y'all, that's how episode 8 ended. I think episode 9 will be the weddings. Episode 9 and 10 will be the weddings. So I'm gonna try to knock those out maybe tomorrow. It is starting to get an overcast. I think it's going to pour down here in just a second. But yeah, guys, so episode 7 and 8 done. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.